Okay, good morning everybody. We're a little bit off for the board there. Today we're looking at advanced phrasal verbs and idioms, and I take all of this vocabulary from a white book called Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms. If you look for it on Google, you'll find it straight away. But I am actually writing a book with a lot of idioms and phrasal verbs, and it's because lots of people have bought my first one. So thanks everybody for the support. It means I'm writing a second one now. So if you want to learn about phrasal verbs, you can pick up a colour copy in Amazon, or you can pick up a black and white copy as well. This one's much cheaper, it's £20. This is the most popular one, of course, but this one's just got black and white images. But you can see plenty of exercises and plenty of answers at the back. You can find this on Amazon, but you can find the PDF on my website. If you get the PDF, you'll get hyperlinks that will take you straight to the answers. And so I hope it's quite a convenient format if you're working on the computer, if you're learning English on the computer. But these are all from a different book. I'll finish my book on idioms and phrasal verbs perhaps in next year, I think in about March or April time. It's only about 20% done at the moment. So let's look at some of these words. To pop the question, a lot of people know this one. This means to propose. And I want you to remember that propose usually means propose marriage. It doesn't have to mean propose marriage. It could mean propose some kind of business deal. You might make a proposal, but then you normally say it like that. You make a proposal. You make some kind of business proposal. If you propose, usually it's to your girlfriend or boyfriend, perhaps if it's the other way round. But if you propose, you ask that person to marry you, and we normally just say he proposed. Just like that, you don't even use an object, and it's clear that he went down on one knee and he popped the question. So pop the question is a very informal way of saying propose. But propose is the most common way. If you want to make it clear, he proposed marriage, but you can just say he proposed. Good morning, Champagne Supernova. So big day now. Your big day is very often your wedding day, but it doesn't have to be. It could even be your birthday. If there's lots of activities and that you've got a party planned for your birthday, well, that's your big day as well. So any important day, but usually your wedding day is your big day. Now, if you say it made my day, this means something made you really happy. So you might say something like, it made my day when I found out that my friend had found a new job. Yeah, it made my day. Yeah, it made me really happy. It delighted me. I'm over the moon that my friend has found a new job. So it made my day when I found out he's found a job. It's not every day. That means that something is highly unusual. It doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen frequently. And so this one does mean what it sounds like it means. If you say something like, it's not every day that you win the lottery. It's true, yeah? You don't often win the lottery. Even small amounts you don't often win. And so it's not every day that you win the lottery. But it could be something completely different. You might say it, usually you say it when you've been lucky in some kind of way. So quite often it's used for positive things. It doesn't have to be, but you might say something like, it's not every day that a person gets the chance to, I don't know, watch their favourite film at the cinema. It can be anything, absolutely anything, but just something which doesn't happen often. A good thing usually, which doesn't happen often. It's not every day that. Okay, the sky is the limit. We use this phrase when we mean that something is unlimited, that something has no limits. And so you might be talking about the profits that your business can make next year and say the sky is the limit. And that would mean that there's no maximum for the profits next year. They may keep going and keep going and keep going. And so the sky is the limit. It's unlimited how much profit we can make next year. But it doesn't have to be about profit. It can be about any other number. When you're saying the sky is the limit, you're saying there is no maximum number. It's it could be unlimited. It could be really, really, really big. So quite often it's used for when something is really, really, really big and you're saying it's so big it's more or less infinite. Okay, nothing but means only. If you say that guy is nothing but trouble, it means he's only trouble. And it could be used in a negative way like that, but it could be used in a positive way as well. You might say something like, he's been nothing but really helpful from the moment I've met him. He's only been really helpful, yeah? So it could be positive or negative, that one. It's very common. If something is off the peg, you normally use this to describe clothes. And if you say she bought an off-the-peg wedding dress, that means she just bought a standard one, not one which was tailor-made for her. So I'd say it's the opposite of tailor-made, because if something is tailor-made, it's bespoke. It's designed particularly for you. If it's off the peg, and if it's before a noun it will need hyphens, of course. If something is if it's an off the peg wedding dress, that just means it's a standard wedding dress of a standard size, and it hasn't been made especially for you. Off the rack and off the shelf are very similar expressions. Very good point. Off the rack and off the shelf, very similar. Okay, the next one is wouldn't hear of it. Now, this is quite often used. It's used when you want to say that you don't want to let somebody do something which you consider negative. Maybe your friend has come to stay and they offer you some money to stay at your house, and you say, no, 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 I wouldn't hear of it. Please don't give me your money. I wouldn't hear of it. And it means, you know, there's no way in a million years I will accept that money. And it could be used with wouldn't or won't. Let me try and think of a time when you'd say won't. So maybe your friend decides that they, I don't know, maybe your friend decides that they're going to get a taxi into town to go sightseeing. But you say, I won't hear of it. I'll drive you into town. Something like that. I'll drop you off in the city centre. I won't hear of you going in a taxi. Okay, so it's usually when you're trying to be kind to someone and you're saying, I don't want you to do that, I wouldn't hear of that, I want to help you. Okay, if that's unclear in any way, please ask a question at the end of the video and I'll do my best to go further. If something breaks the bank, it means it costs an arm and a leg. It means it costs an awful lot of money. However, it's normally used in the negative. It's normally used in that won't break the bank. That doesn't break the bank, meaning that doesn't cost an awful lot of money. It's not going to make me broke. It's not going to empty my bank account. Okay, so it doesn't break the bank. It doesn't empty your bank account. Now, if something goes off in a particular way, for example, the wedding day went off without any problems, without any hitches, without any setbacks. That means it happened in that way. It went off well, it went off badly, and you can use come off, meaning the same thing. The party came off very well, everybody turned up, everybody who was invited came, and so the party came off very well. Everybody had a good time, there was plenty of food, plenty of drink. It came off well, it went off well. But I want you to compare this phrasal verb, and of course, these phrasal verbs are in the book. They're certainly here, so if you want to know more about them, please get the book. But please compare this to go down well or badly with somebody. Now, this normally it's very similar. It means that something happened in a particular way, but it's normally how it is received by the audience. So you might say the wedding went down well with all the guests, meaning that it went off well. It went down well with all the guests. They liked the wedding day. So how something goes down with somebody is how well it went off. Yeah, they're very, very similar, but there's a slight difference because of the with somebody. So the wedding went down well with all the guests, or the wedding went off well. Okay? Any questions about that, please put them at the end of the video. Now, if you propose a toast, as opposed to just propose, if you propose a toast, you're making a toast, and you can make a toast to somebody. So I ought to put that one down as well. Make a toast. to somebody. You can also raise your glass to somebody when you're making a toast. And of course, at a wedding, you will very often hear people make toasts and propose toasts and raise their glasses to the bride, to the groom, etc. Now, if you speak from your heart, you speak sincerely in some kind of way. And if you speak from the bottom of your heart, you speak even more sincerely. It's quite an easy one. I think most people have heard of this one. So to speak from your heart, to speak truly, sincerely, honestly in some kind of way. Okay, to get the better of somebody. This is really quite a common one, but you don't often hear students using it. To get the better of somebody. Now, very often this is used with emotions, and that's why it's very similar to get carried away and another phrasal verb which is come over. We'll look at both of them. Come over and get carried away. So if your anger gets the better of you, it means that your anger takes control of you and you're not able to control that feeling of anger. Your anger gets the better of you and you get carried away and you lash out at somebody. You can also say, my anger, well, usually we say, I don't know what came over me. Yeah, I don't know what came over me. I don't know what took control of me. So to come over is when an emotion takes control of you. So very often emotions get the better of you, but you can get the better of somebody as well. And that just means that you manage to beat them in some kind of way. So maybe you're playing sport, maybe you're playing darts and you manage to get the better of your opponent. That just means you beat them. But often we use it for when emotions get the better of somebody or feelings get the better of somebody and they're unable to control themselves. They're totally dominated by that one emotion. That emotion comes over and they get carried away. Okay, if somebody goes on and on about something, they drone on and on about something, they rabbit on and on about something, they ramble on and on about something, they waffle on and on about something. There are millions of phrasal verbs that mean to talk and talk and talk, and they're usually on about. Go on at someone about something, drone on at someone about something. You don't need to put the at someone in there, but you can if you want to. And again, I've got lots of these in this book, so please, if you want more about this go on about, drone on about, ramble on about, please buy the Phrasal Verbs book. Now, if you speak in glowing terms about somebody, you praise them and say nice things about them, this would be the opposite of insult somebody. Remember, insult somebody, which means say bad things about somebody. Speaking glowing terms about somebody means praise somebody, say nice things about that person. And another expression is to sing somebody's praises. If you sing somebody's praises, you constantly praise them, you constantly say nice things about them. So they're both very positive. There's nothing negative about these two usually. Now, if something is the icing on the cake, it means that something's already going well. Perhaps you've got a really good project, or that's earning a lot of money and it's really going well. And then something else connected to the project is also fantastic. And it feels like, oh, another blessing, another fantastic advantage from this project. And so this extra advantage is the icing on the cake. So maybe you decide to book up a holiday and maybe you get a very good price for it. It's very cheap. Plane tickets are cheap. Accommodation is cheap. And then the icing on the cake, when you arrive there, you find out that all the local sites that you're planning to see, they're all free for this week because it's a special holiday or festival, and they've completely cancelled all tickets. There's no need to pay for any tickets, and so this is the icing on the cake. It was cheap anyway, and then the icing on the cake, you find out that everything's free. Fantastic. Okay, if you break down in tears, this is a little bit like a nervous breakdown. And you remember, you can say a nervous wreck to describe somebody. We've done that in another class, a nervous wreck. And so when you break down in tears, you lose control of yourself. Some kind of emotion comes over you, certainly, usually, an emotion of being upset or devastated about something, and you break down in tears. You can't hold back those emotions. You get carried away. Your emotions get the better of you, and you break down in tears. You have a nervous breakdown. Now, if you are under an obligation to do something, that means you must do it. And if you are under no obligation to do something, that means you don't have to do it. That's all there is to it, to this one. It's quite formal to be under an obligation to do something and to be under no obligation. They're both quite formal. The next one's very informal. I wouldn't be seen dead doing that, or I wouldn't be seen dead wearing that, or I wouldn't be seen dead eating that, whatever. This just means that there's no way in a million years you would like to do that thing. Perhaps because it's terribly embarrassing, or perhaps because it's so awful in your opinion. And so we very often say this, something like, oh, I wouldn't be seen dead wearing that. If you think that what the person's wearing is not that fashionable, you might say, I wouldn't be seen dead wearing Mr. Skype Lessons jumper, something like that. And perhaps you're right. But we could use this about other things. I wouldn't be seen dead. Usually it's about places or about clothes. It is often about clothes or about doing something. But yeah, I wouldn't be seen dead in that disco. Yeah, maybe it's a nightclub and you hate this nightclub and you say, I wouldn't be seen dead in that place. Just means I really don't like that place. And even if I were dead, I wouldn't let my dead body be carried in there. That's the kind of idea. You'd come back to life just to stop yourself from going into that nightclub. So very often used for places, very often used for clothes, occasionally for actions. And that's all for today. So thanks everybody for watching. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask them, because I can come up to my phone and have a look at what you're saying. But otherwise, I'll just remind you that my book is for sale. Is the expression go down a storm used frequently? Yeah, pretty frequently. Something goes down a bomb or goes down a storm, then it goes down very well. It means the party went off well. It means the party went down very well with the guests. Okay, so yeah, it is quite common, certainly. Any other questions? That was a good question. Nice and relevant as well about this vocabulary. So if not, if you're looking for the book, please go to skypelessons.com or Amazon. Any Amazon should have it. And yeah, I hope you all have a lovely day. Speak to you all soon.